Adverbial linkers. Adverbial linkers are words or phrases which we use to connect ideas, usually, but not always, in two sentences. They are sometimes called conjunctive adverbs because they perform the same function as conjunctions. Some common examples of adverbial linkers are words like however, therefore, as a result, that's why, and in addition. Let's look at some adverbial linkers in context. Here is a man talking about living in New York. Listen to and read how he uses some adverbial linkers to connect different ideas.
The best thing about living in New York is that there are so many things to do. That's why I'm never bored. I can go to the park, I can visit museums, I can go to the theater. In addition, there are so many shops that I can buy anything I want. However, too many people live and work in New York. Therefore, it's a very busy place. As a result, there is a lot of traffic and noise.
The words and phrases in bold are the adverbial linkers. Press pause and see if you can work out why the man uses adverbial linkers. Which ideas do they connect? Return to the video when you are ready. So now let's look at how, and when, we use adverbial linkers. The basic pattern for using adverbial linkers is idea plus adverbial linker plus idea. The ideas are usually presented in two different sentences with one of them introduced by the adverbial linker. Look at these examples from the text about living in New York. In the first one, the speaker connects the ideas of there being many things to do in New York and never being bored. And in the second example, he connects the idea of New York being a busy place with the fact that there is a lot of noise and traffic there. Note that in writing we usually use a comma after the linker when it introduces another idea. So, when do we actually use adverbial linkers, and which ideas do they connect? The three main reasons for using them are to contrast ideas, to show cause and effect, and to add another point or idea. Let's look at each of these in turn. A contrasting idea is an idea which is different or opposite to another one. So, in this example from earlier, the first sentence introduces the idea that living in New York is a good thing because there are many things to do. However, introduces a contrasting opinion, the negative point that too many people live there. Pause the video now to see how nevertheless, on the other hand, and conversely, can also be used to introduce contrasting ideas and opinions. We also use adverbial linkers to show the cause and effect between two ideas. In other words, to show the relationship between two things when one thing makes something else happen. Look at this example. The adverbial linker, as a result, tells us that there is a lot of traffic and noise in New York because it is a very busy place. In other words, the cause is New York being a busy place, and the traffic and noise is the effect or result. Again, pause the video to see how therefore, consequently, and that's why, are used to show cause and effect. One other use of adverbial linkers is to add another point or idea. In this example, the man from New York is listing the things he can do in New York. He adds another idea to this list by using, in addition. Pause the video again to see how we use, furthermore, moreover, and what's more, to add extra points, ideas, or opinions. So, as you can see, adverbial linkers are useful words and phrases which connect, or link ideas. We use them to connect contrasting ideas or opinions, show cause and effect, and add extra points or ideas. There are quite a few different adverbial linkers to choose from, but the most common are however, nevertheless, on the other hand, and, conversely, to link contrasting ideas and opinions. As a result, therefore, consequently, and that's why, to show cause and effect. And, in addition, Furthermore, moreover, and what's more, to add another